CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level Exam, and CLAT examination. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will definitely help you to crack prelims as well as mains examinations, because throughout my session, that is in the daily news analysis, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. So by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases throughout the session, we will get into the mode of identifying the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which are very useful for the preliminary examinations, and thereby you will certainly have an edge over others in regards to the identifying the factual, analytical and conceptual question from prelim point of view by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. And it will also be useful for the civil servant aspirant, that is for you all, even in regards to the mains examinations, that is in answer writing. So definitely by imbibing the keywords and the key phrases, or by inculcating the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, which is the main point of main factor in the answers writing, that is in the mains examinations, your answers would be certainly precise and concise. Once you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases, your answers would be precise and concise. And once it is precise and concise, no doubt you will score higher marks in the mains examination. Thereby, this session, that is AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis by Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, will certainly help you to crack prelims and mains examinations for both 2020 as well as 2021. And this session is in regards to the daily news analysis, that is today's, that is 4th of September 2020. And I would re-emphasize and reiterate my tagline, which goes ahead with keywords and key phrases, emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, as I keep on saying that it will be useful for prelims as well as mains and also in the interviews. So do get into the mode of emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, not only for daily news analysis, that is for the newspaper, but it should be imbibed or inculcated in regards to all the subjects, so that you will score higher marks in the prelims as well as mains, and will be certainly comfortable in the personality test, that is the final round or the final phase of the UPSC. And before I get into the daily news analysis, I would say a very good morning to all the one who are in the live and also in the live chat. And I would humbly request the one who is in the live but are not being part of the live chat, please do be part of the live chat, so that you can put in your views, and also there can be a interactive session in the AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And I would wish a very good morning to Rahul, Azmat, Ram Kumar, Harika Yadav, Praveen Kumar, and all who are in the live, along with Prithvi Raju. A warm welcome to you all to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis, and all who are in the live. And the quote for the day, before we get into the daily news analysis, we will look at the quote for the day. The quote for the day is, do what's right, not what's easy. So definitely we need to get into the mode of what is right rather than what is easy. So what is important, that while you are going ahead with your preparation, that is for the UPSC or State Public Service Commission, do take the path which is right. Do not take, or do not get into the mode of selecting the path which is easy. So the easier path may not be a successful path, but you try to pick up or choose the path which is right and which will be the platform for your success or attaining the goal. So do segregate, or do have that segregation in regards to what is right, what is easy. And then before I get into the daily news analysis, I would say a very good morning and warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis to Nandita Tepa, D. Suvarna, Malvika Sajivan. A warm welcome to you all. And the news is in regards to the, you have news for General Rawat pushes for Quad. So what is the keyword here is Quad. The keyword what we need to focus from this news item is Quad. So who is talking about Quad and where the discussion has come up, at which scenario or which place or which instance the Quad discussion has come up. So the Quad discussion has come up at the webinar organized by US India Strategic Partnership Forum. This is an important one and it will be very useful for you in regards to the prelims as well as mains examination when you are trying to get the in depth of the relations between or the strategic partnership between US and India. So you have a partnership, strategic partnership forum, that is US India Strategic Partnership Forum. So on the sidelines of the US India Strategic Partnership Forum, which was organized in by India, I mean that through the webinar which was organized, and who has spoken about the Quad, that is the Chief of Defence Staff. Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat has spoken about Quad. So what did it talk about Quad? We will look at. So he has looked at Quad as so that it can become a system. So he wanted the Quad, that is quadrilateral. What do you mean by Quad? Quadrilateral. So how many countries are part of it? Please do let me know. I will add it here once you let me know. Everyone, good job has also joined. Janardhan, very warm welcome. Please let me know how many countries are part of the quadrilateral. I would wish it from the one who is in the live and in the live chat so that I can write it for you, so that I would know that how many of you are also into the mode of the exact what UPSC is demanding and how you are always getting into the mode of what is important, Quad. And this Quad, what the Chief of Defence Staff of India is saying, that Quad has to become as a system. So Quad has to become as a system. Okay, Shravani says India, US, later Japan joined in 2014. Okay, 4 countries. Harika says yes. Which are the 4 countries? Please let me know. Please let me know which are the 4 countries. And the Quad which is been is there as a system, it wanted to ensure freedom of navigation. So the Chief of Defence Staff is talking about the Quad which has to become a system to ensure freedom of navigation or freedom of navigation, where freedom of navigation, that is in regards to the operation, or else you can take it as freedom of navigation and operations. This is important, freedom of navigation and operation, where in the Indian Ocean. So India is really concerned about the freedom of navigation, about freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean, because we are very clear that China is definitely trying to push its power, military power and naval exercise power in the Indian Ocean. So thereby India is definitely getting into the mode of trying to have its presence in the Indian Ocean, so that we can put a check on China's dominance, wherein it has been taking up dominance in South China Sea, and it is also getting into the Indian Ocean. It is getting into the Indian Ocean on the pretext of saying that it wanted to go ahead with protecting or security of or against the pirates. Pirates, P-I-R-A-T-E-S, against the pirates. So definitely India is, or else Chief of Defence Staff in a webinar organized at US India Strategic Forum makes it very clear that Quad has to be as a system to ensure the freedom of navigation, that is freedom of navigation and operations in Indian Ocean. So we have also gone ahead with a military exercise recently in the eastern Andaman Nicobar Islands with US. So US Nimitz and US Ronald Reagan was also been part of it. So this is all definitely to make sure that we are trying to put a check on China. So here freedom of navigation, operations. So this, if we look at, we can also focus this in regards to United Nations Convention United Nations Convention on Law of Seas. United Nations Convention on Law of Seas. So, as per the United Nations Convention Law of Seas, what is there again? That is freedom of navigation. Please do understand. Freedom of navigation. So, we will not just stick to what we are discussing in regards to freedom of navigation and operations, but we will focus that the freedom of navigation and operations are as per United Nations Convention on Law of Sea. On United Nations Convention on Law of Seas. So, as per the United Nations Convention also, we would be right, and that is why we are definitely getting into the mode of making sure that Quad would be a supportive role for India to have its presence in the Indian Ocean. So, definitely it is US, India, Australia and Japan are the 4 countries. Yes, Savani said India included Australia also. India and US, later Japan joined. Yes, so India, Australia, Japan and US are the 4 countries. But in regards to the Malabar exercise, as of now, it is US, India and Japan. Still, Australia is officially to be included, and India recently accepted Australia to be part of the Malabar exercise. So here when we are talking about Quad, you need to also link it with Malabar exercise. So do not get confused that in the Malabar exercise, Australia is excluded. It is not part of as of now. As of now. Fine. And Chief of Defence Staff has also made it very clear that India should be really looking at, or it should monitor. So Chief of Defence Staff has also made it very clear that we need to continuously monitor what the infrastructure development by China in the Tibet Autonomous Region. Please do understand. So we need to monitor the infrastructure development which is being taken up by China in the Tibet Autonomous Region, and the completion of the National Highway Renovation Project and the development of strategic railway lines and the military reforms by China are the one which we need to focus, we need to monitor, so that we can have a check on China's influence or its expansion to reach towards India, and then try to have its impact on India, especially along the LAC in Eastern Ladakh and also in Arunachal Pradesh So what is that we need to focus or we need to monitor? Infrastructure development in Tibet Autonomous Region, and we need to focus on the completion of the National Highway Renovation Project which are being taken up by China, and the development of strategic railway lines. Along with that, the military reforms which are being taken up in China. So these are the 4 areas which the Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat has made it very clear that we need to focus on this, so that we will understand we can devise the future. By all this, we can devise the future military strategy of China. This is conceptually very important. By monitoring the 4, what I have said now, by that we can devise the future military strategy of China. That is very important. So, thereby, the Chief of Defence Staff has made it very clear that monitoring on China's expansion, and then the importance of Quad. So here we were looking at the importance of Quad and monitoring of China. So these are the 2 keywords, and along with that, yes, no doubt, US-India Strategic Partnership Forum. This is the one. And Madhava has joined. Very good morning, Madhava. Warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And this is in regards to the India-US cooperation. Definitely you have a cooperation signed between India and the US, that is in regards to the Indian military. So Indian and US military have gone ahead with an agreement, and that agreement is called as COMCASA. Please do understand, this is very useful for you in regards to the prelims and mains point of view in regards to the India-US relations. India-US relations, especially focusing in regards to the defense. So here you have something called as defense infrastructure and trade and investment. You have this. So part of that defense, this is the COMCASA one. COMCASA, what do you mean by COMCASA? It is communication compatibility. Please do understand. It is communication compatibility and security agreement. So it is communication and security. Please do understand. So what is this in regards to? It is in regards to communication and it is in regards to the security. Please do focus this. So COMCASA was signed between India and the US in the year 2018. So that we will have a larger picture or a better picture in the maritime activities. So why this is? This is in regards to going ahead with the maritime exercises or activities. So maritime activities in Indian Ocean region. So look at it. We are focused. Now what is important is you need to link this quad with COMCASA. So it is in regards to the India, US, Japan and Australia quad, which is again that we are talking about the freedom of navigation and operations. Along with that, we are talking about the agreement signed between India and US in regards to the defense or Indian military, that is in regards to maritime activities or exercises in the Indian Ocean region, that is COMCASA. That is nothing but communication compatibility and security agreement. So just if you are unable to remember it, do not get confused. Just think about communication and security. Two, it is based on the agreement is based on communication and security. So communication compatibility. So when you are talking about communication, we are focusing on the communication compatibility between India and US, and then in regards to the security, it is an security compatibility also. So it is only the communication and security. And in regards to India-US cooperation, so one is COMCASA and the other one is that India is looking forward from USA in regards to the information sharing. So we wanted information sharing to be taken up and a continued supply of what? Of high technology in battlefield system. This is useful for you as a civil servant aspirant. So what is that India is still looking forward from US is that information sharing and continued supply of what? High technology battlefield systems. So this is very, very important because as India and China, we are going ahead with the LAC issues between India and China along the eastern Ladakh, and also we have also faced the kind of skirmishes even at the Arunachal Pradesh also. And the Chief of Defence Staff is also highlighted the cooperation between India and US, in regards to the aerospace systems, in regards to the space technology, in regards to cyber and artificial intelligence. So when we are talking about the US-India cooperation, so that is why I have taken the heading itself as cooperation, US-India cooperation. So the first cooperation what we had earlier itself is COMCASA, and the one which we are looking forward with US is in regards to the information sharing and continued supply of high technology battlefield system, and the other one is the cooperation what we are looking at is at aerospace systems, space technology, cyber and artificial intelligence as again high technology areas. These are all high technology areas. And the other one cooperation what we are also looking forward is as India has opened up the defense, as India has opened up the FDI in defense. So earlier it was 49%, now it has been increased to 74%. So when it has been increased to 74%, that is the FDI in defense. So India is now expecting that it should become a preferred destination. It should become a preferred destination for what? Manufacturing. That is defense manufacturing. That is defense manufacturing. So definitely the India-US cooperation is three. What I have said is that high technology battlefield systems, and then in regards to the aerospace systems, space technology, cyber and artificial intelligence, and then by increasing the FDI from 49% to 74% in defense, we are making it very clear that we would be India would be a preferred destination for the investments in defense manufacturing. So this is very useful, India-US cooperation, and then the India-US Strategic Partnership Forum, wherein the Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat has spoken about the importance of Quad and the why we need to monitor China, so that we can devise a military strategy to attack if at all a situation arises. And then Gopi Naik has also joined, Srikanth Yadav has also joined. A warm welcome to both of you to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And the other news is relief for borrowers in moratorium case. So this is in news since August 30. Since August 30, or you can take it as moratorium case, or rather than that, loan moratorium scheme. We will look at it as a loan moratorium scheme. The keyword what we will make sure that we will focus here is as loan moratorium scheme. So as you all know that loan moratorium scheme, as per RBI, the Finance Ministry, it was supposed to be ended, or deadline was August 31st, 2020. So definitely there were petitions filed in the Supreme Court saying that it should be extended, or else the compound interest, or else the tax, or else the interest on the borrowers should be excluded. So on that base, the Supreme Court of India has directed, now it has directed the banks. This is the information what we need to look at. So Supreme Court of India has directed the banks. Why? He directed the banks that the expiry, that is the deadline, that the loan moratorium scheme, which was earlier August 31st, as the government, we have looked at Government of India, that is the Solicitor General of India, Tushar Mehta, has very clearly said that the loan moratorium scheme will be extended for another 2 years. This I have said this yesterday. But the Supreme Court is not talking about the extension of the loan moratorium scheme. The Supreme Court has directed the banks in regards to what it has directed. It has directed the banks in regards to that the banks should not declare non-performing assets, till further notice. Please do understand, extending the loan moratorium scheme is a different topic. Fine. Here the Supreme Court has directed the banks that the banks should not declare any organization or corporations or individuals as a or as business entrepreneurs or startups as a non-performing assets, because if you are not paying the loan within 90 days, then the banks will consider that particular company or organization as NPA, that is non-performing assets. So that what is important that we need to focus is the Supreme Court has directed the banks not to declare the non-performing assets till further orders which will be given up by the Supreme Court, and the next hearing will take place on September 10th. So until further orders. So the next the hearing will take place in regards to the non-performing assets on September 10th, and the court is examining now the question whether the compound interest, that is interest on interest, should be charged on loans. So definitely the government has given an explanation that if it is waiving of interest on interest, the government has said, if it is, that is on behalf of the RBI, the government has said, that is the Solicitor General has made it very clear that if you are waiving the interest on interest, so it will be against the norms and condition of finances. So there it is very clear. The statement made by the Solicitor General or the RBI is very clear, and that is being now examined. The court will examine the question of the compound interest, and the bench is also examining the powers. This is important. So the court is examining on the concept of the compound interest or else interest on interest, and it is also examining the powers of the center, powers of what? Powers of the center and the powers of the National Disaster Management Authority. This is very, very useful for your conceptual understanding how the Supreme Court is actually getting into the mode of the loan moratorium scheme and linking it with the compound interest, that is interest on interest, and linking it with the non-performing assets, and also the powers what the center has and the National Disaster Management Authority has to provide relief for borrowers. This is the key to your understanding, which is India is reeling under the financial effects due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So what you need to focus here is the Supreme Court, the non-performing asset is a keyword here, compound interest is the keyword, the powers which are to the center and the NDMA during the COVID-19 pandemic situation. During COVID-19 pandemic situation, what are the powers which the center and NDMA has in regards to the relief which it can provide to the borrowers? Rajkumar has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Rajkumar, to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And as I said, that borrowers are definitely seeking what? A full waiver of interest on interest. And the Solicitor General, as I said, Tushar Mehta, has said moratorium was just to defer payment. What? Suspension. Just to give some relief. He says relief. But the idea was not to waive the interest. So it is very clear. The idea of moratorium is to just defer the payment, suspend the payment, delay the payment, give relief to the payment, relief to the persons who have taken the interest, the borrowers. But it says that Tushar Mehta also made it very clear that any person would fall under NPS only if payments were not made within 90 days. So as I said, and moratorium period was excluded from 90 days, and the accounts do not become NPA as on September 1st. So Tushar Mehta is making it very clear that from September 1st itself, the companies or the organizations will not fall under NPS. It will require or it needs 30 days. So once these organizations or the entrepreneurs are not paying, or the borrowers are not paying the loans within 30 days or even after 30 days, then they would fall under NPS. So there was very clear statement made by the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta. So what is important is this 90 days is the one which we need to focus, which will be a prerequisite for the borrowers to be as a defaulters and as a non-performing assets. And there is another news which talks about India is best place to invest, says Modi. So again we are focusing on US-India Strategic Partnership Forum. Yes, we did discuss in the first news itself, which was in regards to the Chief Defence Staff, Bipin Rawat has made it. But that was in regards to, specifically in regards to the defense or military. Fine. Here, the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum here we will look at what was the pitch or what was the remarks made by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi in regards to India, in regards to investments to be made in India, investments to be made in India. So we will focus that. So what did our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, what did our Prime Minister, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke in regards to the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum? So he has made it very clear that India is a investment destination. India is a investment destination. India has a policy stability, investment destination. India is a policy, has a policy stability, and India is a reliable player in global supply chain. So what he has pitched, what he has emphasized about India, that the Americans should, or American companies or investors should come or should look at or should make sure that they have confidence in investing in India, by making it very clear that India is an investment destination, India has a policy stability, and India is a reliable player in global supply chain. In global supply chain, he has made it very clear that why you need to come forward and then invest in India. He's showing them the confidence, he's giving them the confidence to the foreign investors that do come forward and invest in India because so and so reasons. So it is the confidence created by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, and he also is definitely calling for ramping up our capacity. Ramping up in the sense increasing. So he wanted to make sure that he wanted to increase our capacity, so that he wanted to also secure the poor and also future proofing our citizens. So definitely he is focused about increasing the capacities, our capacities, and also he wanted to secure the poor and future proofing of citizens. So definitely it is in regards to the focus in regards to the capacities what we have, and also he has focused on the poor people, and then our proofs, that is proofing of our citizen, that is in regards to the entire citizens have to have the proof or proofing, future proofing, that the foreign investors do not have any concerns, or else Indian citizens do not have concerns in regards to the foreign investors coming and investing in India. And then he has also made it very clear that the global supply chain, developing of global supply chain, should be based on trust, and not based on trust and not on cost. This is again an important, not based on cost. So indirectly he was referring to China, that the pandemic has shown the world the decision on developing global supply chain. This keyword is important, global supply chains. So the global supply chains should be based on the trust but not on the cost, not only based on the cost, but it should be based on the trust. So he is providing the kind of trust, faith, confidence to the US investors to come and invest in India. And then is also talking about policy stability. See, I have said that here first is investment destination. India is a very good investment destination, and India has policy stability, I said. So we will focus on the policy stability, and it is also, no doubt, it is a reliable player. So when we are talking about policy stability, so what is that policy stability we are talking about? So the policy stability wherein our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has emphasized is on Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant. So this is our policy and our policy is stable. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is being vocal about local, as well as inviting US investors. Please do look at it here. This is our policy stability. Being vocal about local or Atmanirbhar Bharat and inviting US investors. And he makes it very clear that Atmanirbhar Bharat is not that India is turning back onto the world. So this concept is not inward looking. It is not nationalistic approach. It is not inward looking. It is not nationalistic approach. But rather it is both. We wanted to be self-reliant and we also wanted to be part of the globalization approach. Globalized. Please do understand this point. So self-reliant is not that we are looking or else we are showing back to the world, or we do not want foreign investors to invest in India. No, we wanted the foreign investors, but at the same time we are focusing on self-reliant, and also we are also for the concept of globalization. And the self-reliant concept and the peaceful, self-reliant and peaceful concept is actually what India ensures for better world. So this self-reliant and peaceful, so we are self-reliant as well as peaceful. That means we are also into the mode of globalization. We are into the mode of globalization, but we are not into the mode of protectionist approach. We are not into the mode of protectionist approach. We are into the mode of globalization. And being self-reliant and peaceful is that what India ensures a better world. So India is looking at peaceful, reliant and self-reliant, and it also ensures a better world. And when we are looking at the self-reliant, we do not shy away from global responsibility. That is what I am saying. We are definitely into the path of globalization. We support globalization. That is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi is has pitched in the US-India Strategic Forum. In the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, he has pitched that we are for global responsibility. We are, please look at, we are for global responsibility. We are for better world. We are for better world. And we are for global supply chain system. These three. We are for global responsibility, we are for better world, and we are for developing the global supply chain system. And it says that as India is the world's leading producer of genetic medicine, it has taken the global responsibility in trying to supply the genetic medicine across the world during the pandemic situation. So thereby India is definitely focusing on self-reliant as well as globalization, and be part of the global responsibility and be part of the better world. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made it very clear that India is transforming, or it is a transformed India. Why? Because it is moving from passive market. This is the keyword which you need to focus, wherein you can take it as a short notes for the mains. So India is shifting, transforming. India is transforming from passive market to an active manufacturing hub. Active manufacturing hub. See, look at the keywords used, and those are the keywords which you need to focus while you are writing. That is in regards to your answer writing, you need to inculcate these keywords. So India is not a passive market, but it is now an active manufacturing hub at the heart of the global value chain, at the heart of the global value chain system. So India is, I mean, it is transforming from being a passive market to active manufacturing hub. So please do understand the importance of the keywords here. Self-reliant, Atmanirbhar Bharat, peaceful India, better world, global responsibility, transforming India from passive market to active manufacturing hub. And he has also highlighted on that India has come up with various reforms. So they have gone ahead with, I mean, India has gone ahead with being a transparent one, and then India has also come up with the predictable tax regime, and also in regards to the goods and services tax as an unified, that is one nation one tax system, and in regards to the insolvency and bankruptcy code, India has come up, wherein it will reduce the risk for the financial regime and also labor reforms. So these are the one wherein India was repeatedly highlighting that India is transparent, India is got into the mode of predictable tax regime, that is the goods and services tax, one nation one tax, which is with a unified IT enabled tax system. And then it is also, now it also, India also have the bankruptcy and insolvency code, which will reduce the risk for the financial regime and also labor reforms. So all these would certainly provide, it will provide the social security for workers. So this, why I am emphasizing here is that because the recent we have, I mean, India has faced the migrant workers issue. So for that, all this, what the compliance, reduction in the compliance cost for employees and for providing social security. So it will reduce the compliance cost of the employees, and also it will provide social security framework. So these are very important. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also made it very clear that it wanted to go ahead with opening up of coal, mining, railway, defense, and space and atomic energy sectors. It is definitely trying to open up, because we have seen in the defense from 49% to 75%. So likewise, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has described the government's opening up of coal, mining, railways, defense, space and atomic energy sectors also. And he has also emphasized on the agriculture and manufacturing reforms. So he has focused, so look at it, he has spoken about the social security for workers, opening up, that is FDI, social security for workers, FDIs, and now the third one is agriculture manufacturing reforms, and then focusing there agricultural financing facility, which is being provided by the government, which has been launched in August by the government, so that it is trying to protect the interest of the farmers, or providing the finance to the farmers in regards to the agricultural produce. So it is not only that, it is focusing on ease of living was important, as India is also focused on ease of doing business. So India is not just focused on ease of doing business, but India is also focused on ease of living. This is very important, these keywords. The government is also focused on ease of living as well as ease of doing business. So India is not just focused on ease of doing business, but India is also focused on ease of living. Okay, Mohammad Nashra has joined. A warm welcome to you, Mohammad Nashra, to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan. And he has stated that what is the meaning of global supply chain system. Okay, fine. So, you have two concepts, that is imports and exports. Fine. So, before pandemic, that is before COVID-19 pandemic situation. So, all the countries in the world, have participated in EXIM. EXIM means export import. That means it will be from one country to another country, or A, B, C, different countries. I'll just taking example. So imports will take place, to A country, and A country will export to Y. Y country will import to B, and B will export to X, and X country will import to C, and C country will export to Y. So that is what I am talking about imports and exports, the products. So the products which are produced in high numbers, or which are excess in one particular country, and the country which is unable to produce and do not have the required produce for the particular country's population, so they import. So imports and exports do take place. So this is what imports and exports before the COVID-19 pandemic situation was good, but after COVID-19 pandemic situation, because of the entire global lockdown. So what has happened is, it has impacted the export imports. So the products, the goods, products in the sense, products or goods, the movement of the goods from one country to another country, it could be imports or exports. The country which is importing or the country which is exporting, that is totally at a standstill because of the global lockdown. And for that, what has been impacted? The global supply chain system. So what is being supplied? The goods and products. So this is supply chain system. So what constitutes the supply chain system? Exports or imports. So by the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the global supply chain system has been badly hit because of the global lockdown, because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. The imports and exports have been totally, come to a standing halt. And because of this, imports and exports coming to a standing halt, it has impacted the global economy itself. Further, each country's economy is badly hit. I think now, Mohammad Nashra, you have understood this point. So that is global supply chain system. And the another news is, Russia will hold drills in Mediterranean. So here we are talking about, or the keyword we will look at here is Mediterranean. Mediterranean Sea we will look at. No doubt you have Russia here, you have Turkey, which we will be discussing about Turkey, Russia, Greece and Cyprus, or Cyprus. So you have 4 countries involved, and along with that you have European Union also. We will discuss about it. Fine. So what is today's news? We'll talk about. So today's news is in regards to the news which is in the area, that is Mediterranean Sea. And why is it in news? Is that Turkey has announced that Russia will be part of the naval exercise. Russia will be part of the naval exercise in Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Please do understand. Naval exercise in Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Who has announced it? Turkey has announced that Russia will be part of the naval exercise in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. And this Eastern Mediterranean Sea, wherein the naval exercise will take place, is bordering the coastal neighbors, of which country? Of Greece and Cyprus. Are you getting the point? So the naval exercise which is actually being taken up, which will be taken up by Turkey and Russia, will be in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, and this Eastern Mediterranean Sea is bordering the coastal neighbors of Greece and Cyprus. This is what we will look at, analysis point of view. Fine. Now the point here is, why we are looking at this coastal neighbors of Greece and Cyprus? Because the coastal neighbors and Cyprus and Greece are rich in energy resources. What do you mean by energy? That is gas, oil and gas. Can you try to correlate which was a country which was also getting into another sea, which was also trying to explore the energy resources in the exclusive economic zones? In which sea? Please do let me know. I'm talking about one country. Which country is that, which we have also looked at, and in which sea? It has happened in the previous classes, and now we are talking about Turkey, which is entering into the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, which is coastal to Greece and Cyprus, and that coastal area of Greece and Cyprus is rich in energy resources, that is oil and natural gas. Fine. And the other one is, in spite of Turkey announcing, there is no immediate comment from Russia. So Russia did not acknowledge the announcement made by Turkey that Russia will be part of the live fire naval exercise. So this is Mediterranean Sea live fire naval exercise. Or here I'll write it here. It is live fire naval exercise. So there could be a question on this keyword. Live fire naval exercise was announced between which among the two countries? So I am asking you that we have spoken about the Mediterranean Sea and the energy resources, oil and gas, and which country and which sea has actually been taken up even in regards to the energy resources, especially in the exclusive economic zones. Please let me know. I'm waiting for the answer. So if you look at the other side of it, is the relation we will look at between Turkey and Russia. So Turkey and Russia, definitely they have military, political and economic ties. Military, political and economic ties are definitely been strengthening between Turkey and Russia. So militarily, politically and economically, both countries are strengthening. But what is the question is, or what is that is unclear, is that why Turkey has announced that Russia will be part, or will be part of the live fire naval exercise without consulting or on behalf of Russia. Now that is unclear. Why Turkey has announced on behalf of Russia without Russia accepting that it will be part of the live fire naval exercise in Mediterranean or Eastern Mediterranean Sea? And not only that, in regards to the military and in regards to political and in regards to the economic ties, there is strengthening of ties between Russia and Turkey. But there is another point when we are talking about military, that Turkey has purchased from Russia S-4 Triumph missiles. So Definitely, there is very good relations between Turkey and Russia. So we did focus in regards to the relation between Turkey and Russia. Fine. So this is very useful for you in regards to the international relations. Again, in regards to the dynamic part. Dynamic part. Fine. And it will be very useful because we did discuss about Mediterranean Sea, we did discuss about Greece, we did discuss about Turkey, okay, Russia keep aside, and then in regards to the Cyprus. So this will be again not only in regards to the international relations, but again part of current affairs, part international relations, part of current affairs, again geography map based questions. Geography map based questions, it will be useful. So fine. So I was asking about the wherein it has taken place. Another country in which sea. So China in South China Sea. China in South China Sea extending or creating an artificial islands in the exclusive economic zone, which is a cause of concern for Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Brunei, all the Southeast Asian countries. And this is how you need to keep on focusing and link it. Linking is very important because now we are discussing about Mediterranean Sea and we are talking about energy resources. So you need to link energy resources. When I was talking, it is oil and gas. So you need to link wherein this kind of scenario has happened in different part of the world, in which of the sea. So it is in South China Sea. South China Sea by China in the exclusive economic zone in the South China Sea, wherein they are creating artificial islands, and then it is a cause of concern for these Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Brunei. So that is the way you need to link it. And now whatever I have discussed is today's news. Now I'll give the background. Which is been happening since almost a week in the Mediterranean Sea. So Turkey has gone ahead with sending its research vessel. This is important here. The background. Why this entire news? Why today's news? Why this is in today's newspaper? Because since almost a week, there is a situation or a scenario which is happening in the Mediterranean Sea between Turkey, Greece and Cyprus. Between Turkey, Greece and Cyprus in the Mediterranean Sea. Fine. So where it has originated, where the entire issue has started. So Turkey has sent an research vessel, and this research vessel name is called as Oruk Reis. Why it has sent this research vessel Oruk Reis? To search for gas and oil reserves. So you have the research vessel. Along with the research vessel, Turkey has also sent warships. Please do understand this concept. This is what is happening. This is what is happening in the Mediterranean Sea since last 1 week. And this is the background which I am giving for the news which is in today's newspaper. So we are getting into the entire analysis, analytical point of view. So Turkey has sent the research vessel. Along with the research vessel, it has sent warships into where? Eastern Mediterranean Sea. For what? And the vessel is Oruk Reis. R-E-I-S. You have it here. Oruk Reis. For what? For exploration. What to explore? Exploration or explore oil and gas reserves. So the same kind of scenario, now you will understand why I have linked it with China and the South China Sea. Fine. And when they are going ahead with this, Turkey, who has raised the concern is Greece has raised the concern. Who is not happy here is Greece. And in the South China Sea, when China has gone ahead, which were the other countries which were not happy? That is Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Philippines, all this. And here Greece and Cyprus are not happy. Why they are not happy? Because Greece says that Greece is making a statement that the research vessel and the warships have entered into the Greece waters. Greece waters, please you understand. They have entered into the coastal area of the Greece water, or else Greece, you have nautical miles, NAU, NAUTICLE, nautical miles. So every country which is bordering coastal will have their nautical miles, and these nautical miles are their waters. So in their waters, other countries' warships or vessels should not enter. If it does, so it is against the freedom of navigation, or to look it at a larger picture, it is against United Nations. It is against United Nations Convention on Laws of Sea, or United Nations Convention on Laws of Sea. So thereby the Greece is now raising the concern that Turkey has entered into its water. Greece is raising the concern that Turkey has entered into Greece waters. Why? Because Crete, there is an island called as Crete in Mediterranean Sea. There is an island called as Crete in Mediterranean Sea. And that island is part of Greece. That island. So which island? This Crete. Crete is part of Greece. And this island is in Mediterranean Sea. Fine. So what Greece says is, as you have entered into the waters which are close to Crete Islands, and Crete Islands are part of Greece country. So thereby the Greece is raising the issue now. And in turn, the response by Turkey, or Turkey's president is who? Turkey's president is Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He has now given a response by what? By threatening Greece with military action. Look at it. There is a standoff now. It would spill into a conflict. It would spill into a conflict in the Mediterranean Sea. Why? Because when Greece has raised the concern that Turkey has entered into its water, especially into the waters of its island, that is Crete Island, in turn Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has threatened Greece with military action, because he says they are in pursuit, that they haven't gone ahead or they are not doing anything against the freedom of navigation, and they say that in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea they are as pursuit of its rights and justice. So he is talking about the rights and justice in the Mediterranean Sea. And if you look at it, the other point is, as said, the Greece and Cyprus is now not happy with Turkey getting into the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Why? Because Cyprus and Greece are going ahead with or conducting the military exercises at the Greek island of Crete. So where the Cyprus and Greece are conducting the military exercises is here in this island, Crete island. That is why this is very useful information for you in regards to the IR point of view, international relations, dynamic point of view, and also in regards to the geography map based. Why? Because of this island military exercise between Cyprus and Greece, and this is the Greek island. So geography point of view, Aegean Sea, Sea of Crete, you have it. You have the Crete islands in the Mediterranean Sea, which is Crete island is part of Greece, and the importance is another island, Rhodes Island. So you have Crete Islands, Rhodes Island in the Mediterranean Sea. And the vessel which has been sent, the research vessel which has been sent, been accompanied by warships, is the name is Oruc Reis, Orucreis. And Greece, because it is now the concern, because see, look at it, I said Cyprus and Greece are going ahead with the military exercises. Where? In the Crete island. So Crete or Kriti. Sometimes it is pronounced as Crete or Crete. Crete. If you are taking this as the spelling Kriti, it is Crete, or the spelling as Crete, it is Crete. Fine. So here Turkey, again geography map based. Turkey, you need to understand the capital city of Turkey is Ankara. Greece, the capital city of Greece is Athens. You have Cyprus and the Crete Islands in the Mediterranean Sea, and you have the Lebanon here, Syria here, and then south of Lebanon you have Israel. Here you have Israel. So we have seen a port city, Beirut, wherein when there was an explosion in Beirut, the explosion was felt from this port city to even Cyprus. So there could be a question, geography map based on this. So you need to be very clear about it. So look at it. So we have taken this Cyprus island, Rhodes Island, and then Crete Island, which is all the three are in the Mediterranean Sea. So this is Rhodes Island, this is Crete Islands, and this is Cyprus Island. And just try to get into the mode of how this can be given a question in the geography map based. Fine. And now the Greece is approaching, as it is a member of the European Union, it is approaching, or it wanted the support of the 27 nation European Union to make sure that it blacklist the Turkish officials, because whatever the research they are going at, or else energy exploration, the research vessel in regards to the energy exploration, Greece says that it is all illegal activities which is been performed by Turkey. So that European Union has to take a decision, and it should blacklist the Turkish official, because it has entered into the waters or the part of the continental shelf. Again, geography point of view, continental shelf. Fine. So this is how you need to focus, and this way or this strategy will certainly help you to be comfortable or have edge over others in the prelims as well as mains examination also. And Shekhar Nani has joined. A warm welcome to you, Shekhar Nani. And we will recapitulate what we have discussed. So we have looked at the what General Rawat was pushing for Quad. So we have focused the Quad, and also in regards to US India Strategic Partnership Forum we have looked at. So these are very important for prelims point of view. And this is again in regards to the economy point of view we have looked at, which is again important for the prelims point of view. So here we have looked at the loan moratorium scheme, and it will be extended for 2 years we have looked at. And then we have also looked into NPS. The court says that you should not declare any defaulters or the borrowers at the NPS. So that we have looked at. India is best to invest, says Modi. So again it is in regards to the US India Strategic Partnership Forum, wherein our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has focused, or he has created a confidence and then investing the US investors to invest in India. This can be again in regards to the US India relations, US India bilateral relations, or specifically bilateral relations, and here in this first case US India defense cooperation. And this again in regards to the international relations I have discussed, wherein we are focused in regards to the Turkey, Russia, Greece, Cyprus, and then in the Greece what is important is Crete Island we have looked at, and then also the Rhodes Island, Crete Island and Rhodes Island. Fine. And this in regards to the international relations dynamic part we have discussed this, which could be part of the current affairs. And also we have also looked at this from the geography map based for the prelims point of view. So geography map based, again this could be part of the IR dynamic part. So geography map based current affairs also. So I hope this session was an informative session, knowledgeable session, and wherein you would certainly have a confidence and more of knowledge based strategy we have discussed, or we have been discussing since last 2 months, wherein you will have an edge over others in the prelims, mains and interview. So I would say a big thank you and a good luck to you all. And I request that do like the video, share the video, and again I would reiterate, please do subscribe to AKS IAS English channel, because as I said that the daily news analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, will be gradually shifted to this YouTube channel, that is AKS IAS English channel. So do subscribe for it, and then do visit AKS IAS Academy website, and also subscribe or visit the website and subscribe the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And in regards to daily news analysis, again see you tomorrow, that is tomorrow at 7:30 AM. See you tomorrow again 7:30 AM for the daily news analysis. And I would say please do stick, or do have consistency in regards to your preparation, stick to your schedule, and then do take care of your physical health and mental health. And in regards to the mains questions, definitely tomorrow I will focus that. And I would say a very big thank you to all, and I hope certainly the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, are definitely helping you, and then they are definitely making sure that you are you are placed better in regards to the strategy and thinking of how UPSC might frame questions. that is focusing on the keywords and the key phrases, and then how you can link it with the various areas, whether it could be economy, polity, or geography, linking it with, and then definitely you will have an edge over others. And I would take leave now, and then see you tomorrow again at 7:30 a.m. in regards to the daily news analysis. Thank you very much.